Dot Solutions. Add-on desires.
Hello viewers, welcome to Dot Solutions Daily Current Affairs. I'm Lokesh Penugonda. This session is designed for aspirants who are preparing for banking, groups and such other competitive examinations. We cover news articles from both the Hindu and the Indian Express. Make use of this session. Our first article. World's first GM rubber sapling has been planted in the state of Assam. So what is this GM rubber sapling? GM is nothing but genetically modified. Before going into the need for plantation of the GM modified rubber in the state of Assam, we'll see where rubber is cultivated in India traditionally. In the image, you can see that in the state of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, that is in the southern part of India, the rubber is being planted and cultivated traditionally. And now the rubber is also being cultivated in the northeastern India and even in the state of West Bengal. So first we'll see about the traditional cultivated areas of rubber. Kerala is the largest producer of rubber in India, and Tamil Nadu is the second largest rubber producing state. Together these states contribute nearly 80% of the rubber cultivation in India, and rubber is generally used in the production of tires. So rubber is mainly used in the field of automobiles. Now we'll see about the production and cultivation of rubber in the northeastern states. Even in the northeastern states, rubber cultivation has been taken up from the last few years. But there is a problem. Rubber is generally grown in warm and humid conditions. So it is more suitable to be produced and cultivated in the southern India, where it is warm and humid, whereas in the northern India and even in the northern Bengal, it is sometimes very cold in the winter season. So rubber cultivation and its yield becomes very low and it is negatively impacted. So to prevent the winter effect on the rubber cultivation in the northeastern part of the country, the Rubber Research Institute of India has produced and designed the first ever genetically modified rubber in the world as well, and it has been planted in the state of Assam. As this GM rubber is produced by the Rubber Research Institute of India, we'll see where it is and we'll see when it was established. This was established by the Union government way back in the year 1955. It is to do research and development regarding the rubber cultivation in the country, and it is established at Kottayam, which is in Kerala. Next we have an article where the United Kingdom has sent a liaison officer to join the Navy's Information Center. So what is this Navy's Information Center? This article is talking about India in the year 2018 has launched a Naval Information Fusion Center. Naval Information Fusion Center for the Indian Ocean region. This is also called as the IFC Indian Ocean region. So from the name itself you can understand that this is a center which is trying to fuse all the information which we are getting regarding the Indian Ocean region. India has a coastal length of 7,500 kilometers and we are at the center of the Indian Ocean. So many ships travel and transport goods through the Indian Ocean region. So to monitor and to keep a surveillance on the ships and vessels passing in the Indian Ocean region, the Navy has brought out the Information Fusion Center in the Indian Ocean region. This was established in the year 2018 at Gurugram. And the Indian government and the Navy has asked other countries to send liaison officers or officers to be posted here. So whatever information that we are generating and fusing at this center can be used by these countries as well through the persons who have been posted here. And the first country to send its liaison officer to the information center at Gurugram is France. And later we have seen the United Kingdom sending its liaison officer now. So this is with respect to this article. And you would also see here that it will provide for a seamless exchange of information regarding the vessel transport in the Indian Ocean region. Next, we have an article dealing with a scheme launched by the Jharkhand state government. So, the Jharkhand state government last year has launched a scheme called as the Phulo Jhano Ashirwad Abhiyan. This is a scheme that is trying to rehabilitate women who are engaged in illicit and unregulated liquor sale. So, as Jharkhand is mainly a tribal populated area, the women in the state of Jharkhand sometimes produce rice beer. So they make some type of alcohol by using rice at their own home, and they will sell it in the market. As this is not only harmful to the people, but also it is negatively impacting those who are preparing it. The Jharkhand government, through the Phulo Jhano Ashirwad Abhiyan scheme, want to rehabilitate those women who are related to this illicit and unregulated liquor. And you can see in this image how Ms. Sushila Devi has been given some help from the government through this scheme. Next, we have an article regarding the G20. It is stated that G20 will also accept the minimum tax proposal on the companies made by the G7. Earlier this month, we have seen how the G7 grouping has met in the United Kingdom and how they has approved the proposal made by the United States regarding 15% taxation on all the companies. And the G20 grouping is also planning to accept this proposal. So, we'll see about the G20 grouping. G20 is an informal grouping of 19 countries and one union. So, it is not a informal grouping of 20 countries, rather it will have 19 countries and one union. So we have the European Union and 19 other countries. You can see in this image. And it was established in the year 1999. The G20 grouping is formally called as the Summit on Financial Markets and world economy. So you can understand that this is a grouping that is mainly dealing with finance and economy. And from the countries itself, you can understand that this is a body which is for advanced and emerging countries. So we have the G7 countries who are members of this G20 organization, and apart from G7, we have countries such as Russia, Argentina, Australia, Brazil, China, India, Indonesia, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea and Turkey. India is the only country which is part of the G20 when it comes to South Asian region. So Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh are not members of this grouping. And this year's, that is in the 2021, the chairman of this G20 group is Italy. So the G20 summit will also take place in Italy. Whichever country is hosting the G20 grouping, then that country will be the chairman as well. So it is the same country that will act as chairman and hosting country. And India is stated to host and be the chairman of this grouping in the year 2023. Earlier it was stated that India would be the chairman of this grouping in the year 2022. But now it is stated to be in 2023. Next, we have an article where Russians are observing the 80th anniversary of Nazi Germany's invasion on the Soviet Union. So, we'll see about this invasion. This invasion is a part of the Second World War. So, we'll see about the Second World War. Second World War started in the year 1939 when Germany invaded Poland. When Germany invaded Poland in the 1939 year, the World War II officially started, and Germany was supported in this venture by Italy, Japan and Russia as well, that is the USSR. So these four countries, that is Germany, Italy, Japan and USSR, were called as Axis powers, and they are fighting against the Allied group who includes the United States, United Kingdom, France. So these three countries are fighting these four countries. But when the year 1949 in the year 1949, the German government and the Nazi forces has invaded USSR as well. So USSR initially was in a grouping with the Germany, but when Germany attacked USSR for territorial gains, USSR shifted its alliance from the Axis powers to the Allied powers, and later Italy, Japan and Germany was devastated and they lost the war due to these four countries' combined efforts. You should note that this war started in 1939 and ended in 1945. Next we have an article which is talking about a UN report on the children. So the United Nations General Assembly's President Mr. Antonio Guterres has provided an annual report to the Security Council, and in this report he has stated that more than 8,500 children has been used as soldiers in many countries. So whenever there is a civil war and in the poor countries, children are used as soldiers in this war. So we have countries such as Somalia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Afghanistan, Yemen and countries such as Syria. In all these countries, children were mainly used as soldiers, and it is stated that more than 8,500 children are used as soldiers and nearly 2,700 of them were killed last year. Next we have an article dealing with the International Tea Day. So we'll see when this International Tea Day is observed on. From the year 2019 onwards, the United Nations body, that is the Food and Agricultural Organization, started observing a particular day as International Tea Day. This is May 21st. So it is the FAO which has started that observing the International Tea Day, and it is observed on March 21st every year. As this article is dealing about tea production, we'll see where all tea is produced in the country India. You can see in this image how tea is produced in the southern states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Apart from here, we also have tea production places in the northern eastern part and in the Uttarakhand area. These are some traditional tea growing areas, and apart from this, tea is also being grown in the West Bengal region as well. Now we'll see about the states which are leading producers of tea production in India. Assam is the largest tea producing state in the India, and you should note that world over India occupies second position in tea production, whereas it is the country China which is in the first position when it comes to tea production. Next we have an article where in the 47th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, grave concerns were raised against the China regarding its human rights violations in the area of Xinjiang. So we'll first see about the United Nations Human Rights Council. Human Rights Council. This is a UN body set up by the United Nations General Assembly in the year 2006. From the name itself, you can understand that this is a body of the UN which is to protect and promote human rights in the world. So this is a body that is dealing with the human rights in the world. And this year, this month, we have the 47th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, and more than 40 member countries of this organization have raised concerns about the human rights violations that are being taken place in Xinjiang, which is a province or an area in the China. So they have been alleging that there is gross human rights violations, including cruel, degrading treatment, punishment, forced sterilization, gender-based violence, forced separation of children from their parents, and more. And they are asking the China to allow the United Nations Rights Chief to access this region so that they can understand and know what is happening on the ground. But China is defending its stance, and it is not allowing the UN members to go and to access this detention centers. We have widely known and we have widely seen how China has detained more than 10 lakh Uyghur Muslims in the detention centers, and there have been numerous reports of violence, numerous reports of forced sterilizations of the younger men and women in this region. So these 40 countries have been raising concerns about this. And now we'll see about where this UNHRC exists. The UNHRC is headquartered at Geneva, which is in Switzerland. So this is regarding the news regarding the UNHRC and the Xinjiang. Next we have an article which is talking about Hong Kong. Hong Kong is an administrative region of the country China. In the image you can see where Hong Kong is. Hong Kong has been a British colony from 1850s to 1997. So for nearly 150 years, Hong Kong, which is a small area near the mainland China, has been a colony of the United Kingdom. And in the 1997 year, United Kingdom has entered into an agreement with the China, where Chinese government has stated that if you hand over this region now, will give 50 years, will give you 50 years of autonomous region and will give freedom to the people. So according to this 1997 deal between United Kingdom and China, China is supposed to provide freedom and autonomy to the Hong Kong region. But last year we have seen how the Chinese government has brought several laws that is trying to restrain the autonomy, that is trying to restrain the freedom of people, freedom of press. And yes, and this week we have seen how the Hong Kong police establishment has arrested 2 editors belonging to one famous newspaper of the Hong Kong, which is the Apple Diary. So Apple Daily is a newspaper running in the Hong Kong, and its editors have been arrested by the Hong Kong, stating that a new law brought by the China is allowing them to prevent and restrain the freedom of the press. So this is with respect to the Hong Kong and the press freedom. Now you should know why there is protests, why there is numerous issues coming up with the Hong Kong. Hong Kongers are relatively different from the Chinese mainland people. They have a different culture. They have a language called as Cantonese, and they even have a different religion compared to the mainland China. And apart from this, as Hong Kong was ruled by United Kingdom for nearly 150 years, they have been given relative freedom when it comes to human rights, when it comes to civil rights, when it comes to freedom of the press. But now, after getting into the Chinese rule, there has been numerous impact on the freedom of the press and freedom of the people, because Chinese government follows something called as communism, and there is no direct elections, and Hong Kongers are asking for direct elections so that they can get their own representative based on their voting. So this is why there has been numerous issues when it comes to Hong Kong. Next we have an article dealing with the Bank Board Bureau. So what is this Bank Board Bureau? In the year 2016, the Union government set up an autonomous body called as the Bank Board Bureau. This body will provide recommendations to the government as to whom should be appointed as non-executive directors and chairmen of public sector banks and financial institutions. So we have the public sector banks like the State Bank of India, like the Indian Bank, the Andhra Bank, and many other banks, and we even have many financial institutions that are owned and managed by the government, as there is huge political influence regarding the appointment of chairman and managing directors of these important government institutions. Government has brought out and set up this autonomous body wherein they will look into people who have enough capabilities to lead these bodies. So the Bank Board Bureau is a body that will be recommending the names that have to be appointed as a chairman and other important leaders of the public sector banks and the financial institutions. And The present chairman of the Bank Board Bureau is Mr. Bhanu Pratap Mehta. Mr. Bhanu Pratap Mehta, whom you can see in this image. And with this, we have come to the end of the session. Inform about ADORS initiative to your other aspirant friends. You can visit our website to attempt mock tests based on the daily current affairs videos. Thank you for watching.
Add-on solutions. Add-on desires.